when the values of this company was at its peak, I'm talking about in the $170 a share range, right? Oof. All of the talent, and you know how I feel about talent. Talent is a code word, at least when it's said to me. They had enough value to be paid upwards from $250,000 to $500,000 a year. They had top talent. Do you know how much value you have to bring to a company for them to pay you $500,000 a year as a trainer?
What's going on, fam? This is KR Jones of the Off the Strength podcast, and I am here to tell you to like, listen, subscribe, and if you're feeling freaky, visit offthestrength.com. That's where you can go and get more information on us. That's where we can link, we can build, we can connect, and let's make this thing work.
Letdown of all of your expectations, man. I keep coming across that. That's kind of like this week, bro. Came into some subtle bigotry in every step of my walks through life. The shit don't be overt, but it be the small little steps that kind of come inside there. You don't never hear somebody say something to you that's like, yo, this is race adjacent, and I don't know how I feel about this, but I'm gonna give you grace to kind of let it, see if you can land the plane a little bit.
Before I give you these hands?
Before I have to do the laying of thine hands. It's like, where are you coming from with this compliment or this sideways ass question, bro? So again, walking through the neighborhood, doing my little stroll, trying to get my mind together, working on my body, my mind, my temple. And I always see somebody that's trying to catch my eyes and be making that direct eye contact. And it's like, yo, I don't need no new friends. I don't want to make no new acquaintances. I just want to do this on my me time. Fam.
That's not how it works.
Older PWT walks right up to me. Hey, can I ask you a question?
You want to explain what that acronym means?
No, I do not. You're going to just let that land how it lands. Whoever gets that. They don't need to know anything else about that. Hey, I got a question. I'm watching these guys work out over here, and I hear the black guy say it mostly, but like, what does getting money mean? Like, excuse me? Yeah. You know when you're doing like the workouts and the pull-ups and stuff? This guy was telling me I was getting money, and I was like, sir, I don't want to give you money, but I was just curious. Do you ever hear that?
Oh,
you rich. Yeah. It's like, oh, getting money in calisthenics. That's what you're asking me about? Yeah. Is that something that you guys say all the time? Oh, you guys. It's like, word? That's what we coming in with?
Can we unpack this voice you're using?
You know what it is. It's to identify the region and ethnic extraction that I was dealing with at that particular point in time. Have you ever had some kind of conversation that sound or start off similarly to that? Where it's like, I don't know if you're trying to be racist, but let me let you land the plane. And oh yeah, you was being racist. You just don't know it.
I can't say that I have, dog. I live in between the realm of like the very most extreme or like is so minute that it don't even matter. Like you get the shit like, can I touch your hair? Or you get a whole bunch of lock questions specifically. Like, does it just grow like that? Like, bitch, it's hair. Does your hair grow? You know, like, how does it stay twisted? Well, how long does it take to dry? Like,
this is right on the cutting edge of where gentrification is. We're going to be answering these questions and many more. What's good, everybody? What's good? Welcome back to yet another episode of Off the Strength, where we give you the inside look into all things wellness culture. I'm a trainer called Tony, and of course with me I got a gentleman of extraordinary league.
KR Jones is in the building.
That's right, folks. We are back. And ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, listeners of all type from near and far, you are now in store for a treat because it's the return of the variety show. That's when we give you our best foot forward. So hopefully you take your best foot forward. You do that two-step, that tango, whatever it is you need to do to make it on through the week. Best goddamn wellness information available.
Yeah.
Now, brother KR Jones.
What's the word?
How are you doing this week, my friend?
Man, we are back live on the MIC.
Yes, that's right. Coming to you live from Newsstand Studios directly on the block of the Rock.
It's been a minute. Mm-hmm. There's a lot to discuss, but I'm going to keep it black and keep it brief. Mm-hmm. There's a heat wave going on in New York City. It's just been wild. We outside. The nip is free. Everything else, the moose knuckle is out these days. Are you up on that lingo?
I am familiar. Yes, I've been alive.
The term camel toe has been changed. The moose knuckle.
I've been around. I've seen and understood.
It's out taking over the streets like the BBL. You know what I'm saying? And summer is officially here. So this is the best part of the year for New York to be here. So, you know, just taking a moment to soak that in.
Yeah.
Taking another moment to soak in the X&A on the congestion pricing in the city.
Okay.
Because if that would have happened, my black ass wouldn't be here right now.
Okay,
I
shout out to that.
You know,
No more congestion pricing.
No more congestion pricing. You know, Easy Adams, I hope you out somewhere not doing work like you normally do.
It's coming back.
Last part of all of that is, man, it's the time of free concerts and block parties and just good vibes, man. And I refuse to let anything else take me out of that zone and of enjoyment.
I definitely appreciate that, man. And I, too, have been enjoying the positive sides. Other than those awkward conversations.
We're not talking about the negative bull.
I've had a lot of positive conversations, too. So, I've, just enjoying the ability to be outside and really interact with people that do mean, like, genuine good towards you. Oh, yeah. It's been a fun time, man. And
not to get money, folks.
Not to get money, folks. Shout out to...
How black are you?
Yeah, exactly. Can I hang? Like, is this cool? Are we down with the set? What's going on?
Just every stereotype. Would you like some chicken and watermelon right now?
It's just like, just hit all of them. It's like, wait a minute. We're not going to have this. This is not NPR. Yeah. What are we doing right now? What kind of exchange do you want, man?
At what age did your father go to jail?
Yeah, dead ass. The conversation came to a pen pal in jail at some point. And I was like, where's the camera? We cannot have this conversation right now without having the
documentary. Because if I flip it and start asking about your sticky rice recipe, you get what I'm saying?
It gets a little crazy, right? Yeah. But other than that, nah, man, I've honestly been seeing the things that I do on a daily basis, Kyle. I'm starting to see tribes that I did not know I was connected to. People very appreciative of that starting to happen. If I had to give one word to describe the weeks since we've been on the mic, it has been one of discipline, my friend. Because I had to show up and show some discipline in every one of these scenarios. People be talking to you crazy. All right, don't black right now.
Real discipline is me
stay on top of your game.
Electing to not give you these hands.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Working out consistently with the homies. I mean, me and my brother Jones got some full body karate in that same park.
That we did.
I got to go to the new gym with some old friends. I got to shout out my boy Harris and shout out my boy John out there. Just to get in the old Equinox crew up on a new ground was always fun. Getting out to networking events in the cannabis industry. Got to talk about those a little bit.
Rooftops.
You notice, man, it decadence inside some of these spaces. It's not the CD.
Up with a J with a view of the city is a new level of achievement that I didn't know I needed until I had it.
I got to shout out to the weed auntie real quick off the top because it's not the type of parties that they used to be for weed.
Yeah.
There's always been weed parties in New York City, but they always been on some underground shit. And
because it was illegal.
Kind of funky. Let's be honest about it. It's a little gruddy in there.
Smelled real earthy in there.
Yeah. This was not that. So I got to salute her, and I'll definitely tag back in on that in a little bit. But my brother.
What's up?
One of the things that was keeping me occupied in the past few weeks is the idea around eating the frog.
Eating the frog?
Yeah. Now
okay.
Before we go into it,
what type of frog we talking?
What comes up in your mind when I say that to you?
See, when we really unpack the frog, right, it's a deep hip stretch for me, at least, you know what I'm saying? Which is a direct correlation to the deep lizard and also the African frog squat.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
All of these things can still play. It's like,
when you laying it down.
Yeah. You gonna be eating the frog? Shout out to that.
You gonna be eating the frog.
And Kyle's newest workout program will be coming to you on Off the Strength After Dark, but that is not what I'm talking about inside of this segment. I am talking about, however, the productivity technique that involves identifying and completing the most difficult or important tasks that you have for the day. Okay. So the analogy is nobody really wants to eat the frog, but sometimes you just got to do it, right?
Give me the F.
Okay, so inside that idea, tackling the most challenging task as your first task can unlock some capabilities for you to have just more ease throughout the course of the day. Does that kind of make sense?
Okay.
All right, so now, in an effort to do away with any forms of procrastination, to be more efficient and everything else, Kyle, I want to get into this week's Ask the Professionals, and we're going to be talking about how to eat the frog this week.
Okay,
what are some of the tactics you use to make progress in the things that you have the most difficulty in your life right now?
The things I have the most difficulty in life right now is getting out of my head and into motion, into action.
Okay.
So a lot of times that looks like me having to write things down. I historically was like, I'm going to remember that. I never remember it. And I forget about it and I move on to some other shit because my day-to-day is so sporadic and I could take a left or right at any given moment. Having a agenda, one thing that I did pick up on, just to wrap this too, would be having an AM and PM list, which is not the eating the frog to me, but if I have a clear objective, okay, this is what I need to accomplish before the PM, and then this is what I need to accomplish in the PM before the next AM.
Let me punctuate it because it sounds like you are doing it. It's just not referred to in the same way, right?
Okay.
So the first and most important thing in this, in tackling this as an issue, is identifying what is the hardest shit that you have going on in your life. A lot of people, yes. What's the thing that you know that you need to do that you do not? I'm black. That you do not do anything about to work past. What are you doing in that task that you have consistently been putting off for the longest time? That is the shit that you know is last on your list is probably the thing that you need to do. And that's what they say, AKA is the frog. You keep avoiding it because you don't want to have to deal with it, right? So first part is identifying it. After you identify it, next thing you got to do,
get the surgery, right?
You got to eat that damn thing.
Go Sammy Sosa, you know what I'm saying?
You got to figure it out, man.
Go Mike Jack.
You got to figure out how to put yourself in the best possible circumstance for you to actually attack the problem that you have. I say problem, not necessarily meaning that you're facing an issue, but you have a task that you no longer want to be held up by. Approaching that directly is the best way to really try to make some type of movement on it, and making that the sole focus is the way that you get through that, right? And then after you finally check that big thing over the off the box, you should feel that pressure be relieved. The very next step, Kyle, is that you got to make sure that you know that that shit is not over once you check that one box.
No.
That discipline starts every day. So that ritualism to get back up and start to put yourself on a cycle of quote unquote winning or a cycle of progress is going to know that, hey, you need to make these kind of assessments and that kind of priority switch on a daily basis. And once you do that, you'll see how those progressive steps start to change.
It sounds like a lifestyle change.
You notice, man.
And it sounds like a full commitment has to take place. A lot of times, I think, especially when you are implementing something new in life, that flirting mentality is always there. It's real easy to gravitate towards. And that's where a lot of the progress that you're speaking of gets caught in, right? It's like, oh, yeah, I'm going to do this way one day, maybe 2 days, but it doesn't turn into an everyday thing. So
why do you think that happens?
It really comes down to reverting back to your comfort zone and not staying in that uncomfortable state. So it becomes a habit, so to speak. And sometimes fear, too. Fear of like, damn, I got to do this. This is the next level of, you know, whatever it is that I'm striving for, right? So I think it's a lot of inhibiting factors that could hold people up.
Well, hopefully in identifying them, they are able to find something that is allowing them to move further forward. And that is going to be it from my side of this Ask the Professionals this week. And of course, folks, this Ask the Professionals segment is brought to you in part by the On the Move bag by Off the Strength. Now, Kyle, did you know that the On the Move bag by Off the Strength is the only crossbody bag that also happens to come with a full suspension trainer? That's right, Kyle. You can get your full body karate on. Much like you've seen me and the good brother Jones in a local park near you, you get a whole workout that you could pack in a bag and take it with you. That's right. That's the On the Move bag by Off the Strength.
Yay!
Okay, he doubled up on that one this time, and we're going to bring it right back, and we're going to get into a little bit of this good. We're going to get into a little bad.
All right.
And we're going to get into some ugly this week. Kyle, it's time for this week's episode of Rip from the Headlines. And Brother Jones, there's been a lot of headlines that have happened that have piqued my interest since we last touched down on these microphones, my friend.
Okay.
So first things up, I want to talk to you about something that I'm going to put notably inside of the good out the gate, my friend. So this new innovation inside of the sport of baseball that I think is needed across all baseball. Now, I know that you brought together the neon after day-glow baseball games that you were showing us the last time, Kyle.
For sure.
Did you see that the Portland Pickles made history by being the first stadium to announce that they are going to start serving cannabis products to have at the baseball game? So that boring-ass sport is now going to get the injection of all kind of creativity that you actually need to have. I am all the way here for this. What say you about the Portland Pickles baseball team making history to be the first stadium to sell cannabis products?
I'm gonna call 3 things right here. First is cap, because you're not even a baseball fan.
I'm not, but I would be.
Faithful listeners of the show, go back and listen to the last episode where he was just shitting on baseball.
This
for
is
one.
why I'm celebrating this part.
For 2, I didn't hear about that, but I did hear about their mascot stripping down to the skeevies.
It's called the Portland Pickles, man.
The Portland Pickle.
You're going to get what you pay for.
Showed the whole pickle and the G-string, and they was like, I ain't even know mascots could strip. So I did see that in the news. I didn't know they had weed related in
This
it.
is why. They probably went hand in hand. You got to know your dose, folks. When
Coming back around to the 3rd point, that sounds like a pretty good goddamn time, you know?
This is the type of baseball that I think is needed to make it America's pastime once again. So I thought that would be something that was near and dear to you. I just wanted to share it and see how you felt about that.
Don't
one.
sit by third base. Your delay going to be a little slower than you think. You'll end up with a ridge in your face.
Hey, man. He's trying to show you where he's coming from. You know, he's trying to let you know.
You got it.
Portland Pickles out here.
Shout out to the pickle mascot.
Hey, man, and they are making stuff work. So salute them on that front, man. All right, next up, Kyle, I don't know how people are going to be tackling this obesity crisis that we've been facing for the longest time, but Health Club management has an idea about this. You know, they're saying that the only way that we can get past this is to start paying men to lose weight to help fix the obesity crisis. Now, Kyle, a study has shown that cash rewards in combination with motivational daily texts has the best possible result for people having weight loss, and this is better than any of these over-the-counter drugs that are now popularized, better than any of the coaching apps that send you the text alone. They do have some impact, some value, but not long-lasting. It's compared also to any of the kind of biometric markers that we get from our watches or our rings and stuff like that. No, they're saying cash rules everything around these men losing weight. Kyle, what are your thoughts about the combination of getting paid to do the thing that you need to do to make your life better? How do you feel about that?
First, I want to take it back to you tackling obesity. That's just
tackling obesity,
a visual right there in itself. You know,
I'm taking it down.
Get your big ass out on the field, for one. For 2, that sounds good on paper. Everybody would love to get paid to work out. Is that going to be the best incentivization? That's not a word,
That's
but
not.
You see what I did there? I threw that out there. Is that the best incentive to get people to work out?
Let's talk about it. What's some of the pros and cons on that?
How much we really getting paid?
What would you need to get paid to get into the best shape that you can get into?
I mean, if we talking life,
Let's
you know what I'm saying?
Tease it out. Like, make it a real conversation.
If we going by the old metrics, you know what I'm saying? Give me $150 an hour.
Okay.
At minimum.
For you to get into the best shape that you can.
For me to get into the best shape that I can, at minimum, that's a starting point.
Okay, so just hold that for a second. $150 an hour, let's say, on average, you're doing that 3 times a week, right?
Yep.
You can figure out the math on that if you want to get all the way through to how much that costs you in a year. I'm going to tell you that whatever that number is that you total up is going to be significantly less than the price of your subscription medications that are going to be needed to keep your obese self alive for the length of time that we need you to do. So not you, but somebody that's in that category that's paying all of these drugs and medications. Hey, I could give you probably a fraction of that, make you feel like you need to have a little bit of extra push to do the thing that will make you not need all these medications.
That part.
I think it might be some merit to this.
It just might be.
It can be. And
now we got to define obese. You know what I'm saying?
Well, so let's look it up. This is going to be something that has a category that we can identify.
I feel like that goalpost be moving.
It has shifted. So in recent years, we are getting more and more people that are obese. So this is going to pull me into another story. Kids are the worst type of inactive that they have ever been.
You know what I'm saying? They behind the desk.
In years.
They ain't outside.
57% of the children in the U.S. are technically in the ranges of what obese would be for childhood right now.
Double cheeked up.
57. That's more than half of the kids that you will see in America don't do any of the activity
That's
that they need.
That's why all the NBA prospects is French.
Yeah, we seriously across every aspect of our lives, we're seeing bigger and bigger Americans for a number of different reasons that we can't unpack all right now, but they're dropping out of sports altogether. That's also another reason why we got a lot of people that are coming from international spaces into our major league sports. Childhood sports are on the decline in the U.S.
Yeah.
So we're getting a combination of kids who don't necessarily do activities, who also aren't necessarily being a part of any kind of extracurriculars in and of itself. they are going to be those obese adults in the next in the next iteration.
They touching down on that pre-diabetic, getting into that diabetic shit.
They are diabetic before they even get into the teens.
Yeah.
So a diabetic child is going to be a diabetic adult, and they're going to be on this same line of medication, which again, I'll point out, the lifelong spend on you being an obese child into an obese adult is going to be exponentially more than whatever you think is going to cost you to get a little bit of extra coin to work out.
You paying somebody's salary with that.
Hello.
Easy.
So this is why we got to subject this to people to think about a little bit more. You know, it's like, yo, there's a practical application to all of this, bro. If you follow the dollars and cents, you might be able to find some truth in the whole situation, man. Much like in this next story, Kyle, I want to talk about some of the evolutions that I'm seeing in the digital fitness spaces. Now, Kyle, I, in particular, have been feeling, I say, a little bit perturbed by some of the headlines that I read. You know, I don't know if people can hear that little bit of frustration that I have. I've been on an extensive search.
Let them know.
In this job market, on the fit tech side, which I do think I have a little bit of information about.
Just a tad.
We kind of cover a lot of this stuff inside this particular podcast, but more so, I've been in this industry, in this space, before we even had some of these terms.
Say it with your chest, Tony.
It's really perplexing to me.
Okay.
So when I look at certain things, Kyle, I might have a little bit of a different eye and a lens to see them, and I get a little bit triggered. And I can be honest about that. I'll put that out in the forefront. But have you been paying attention to any of the news following all of the Peloton people starting to slowly trickle out and leave?
A little bit. I never give too much information or attention to the Peloton.
Brand specifically, yes. Yeah. So the ramblings that I'm noticing, and I want to call attention to, is really going to be the thing that I think is the differentiating factor that I at least bring to this industry. Here's what's reported, here's what's said, and here's what's understood, right? I'm seeing a lot of CEOs that are starting up these different wellness brands talking out against some of the talent leaving Peloton. And Peloton, we've been reporting on this show, I've been reporting on this show, that this stock has been sinking like the damn Titanic for the longest of time. Since right at the tail end of the 2022s is when stuff started to really get a little rocky for them.
Can we add some texture to talent?
Please.
Well, I think talent being the people that are the forefront of the brand,
yes,
that are running these classes, that have people coming back to that cult following, that are really bringing the engagement to this tech company, so to speak.
Well, I'm going to take it even a level higher than that. This tech company would not exist without this talent. So in every way that...
Because all they provide is the bike.
Well, they
and
provided,
the connectivity.
I'm going to give them a little bit more than that. They provided a bike, the platform, a distribution arm. They figured out a lot of different things other than what moves people.
Okay.
And this is the part that I really get a little bit more perturbed about, because when the values of this company was at its peak, at its complete highest, I'm talking about in the $170 a share range, right? Oof. All of the talent. And you know how I feel about talent. Talent is a code word, at least when it's said to me. I kind of know what you're saying when you refer to anybody that's in this particular position as talent. They were touting the fact that they had enough value to be paid upwards from $250,000 to $500,000 a year. They're top talent. I'm not saying everybody on Peloton you see is making that.
No.
But that's the range.
It's a select few that make it to the All-Star game.
That's the range of their top talent. And they will spend that on things like the All-Star game. They'll spend that on getting you brand placements in different situations. Do you know how much value you have to bring to a company for them to pay you $500,000 a year as a trainer? I'm going to tell you it's a lot, Kyle. You know why? Because if you start to look behind the curtains, none of these people who are referred to as talent were ever being taken down by these other CEOs of reputable companies, and I'm going to skip their names right now, but it's more than one. And the headlines are the things that really kind of capture my attention. They're referring to them that the brands are better than the individual personalities. Don't run a talent agency. This is how you run a fitness business. And I really see this passion from multiple CEOs, and I have a question for them. Where were you when the CEO of Peloton started crashing that company? I don't see any of the same kind of scrutiny. You know, when they decided to put Mr. Big on a treadmill and he fucking died in one of their commercials, the stock went down then. You know who didn't do that? Nobody that was referred to as talent said that this was a good idea. When the treadmills actually started hurting people and people started dying on your equipment, Nobody talked to the talent as the issue, but we're looking at all of these things and just sweeping them under the rug. Nobody told you to go out and buy a whole barge and not have foresight to say, this pandemic money might not last as long as we can. None of the people who are now being critical of the talent for leaving and seeking out what they know are greener pastures, they're not talking about the people who caused the problem, and therein lies the issue. The CEOs in this position want to downplay and disregard the effort that it takes for somebody who is in that talent position to bring other people into this room. The people who are on the side of the talent, I've been there too, they want to disregard all that infrastructure that I just was finished talking about because in some way, hyperinflated ego is like, no, everybody's here for me and they want to come with me and they want to do this. And I say, don't confuse the fact that you are a product of opulence with the fact that you are actually opulent. Those are not the same terms. You can be in somebody's life in a very convenient way and they can keep coming to you as long as it is convenient. Now, as soon as you want to step away from that and you can't deliver that same level of convenience or access and agency, you're going to run into an issue. The irony is that both of these parties are needed and they both disregard the work on either side. I think companies that figure out you can't disregard people's work, energy, and effort, especially in health and wellness, especially when you have no actual authority or agency in the thing that you're saying somebody's doing that is not worth it. I think the day that we come up with a company that actually values that exchange as a fair place is going to be something that's actually beneficial. Now, I'll leave this segment off from my standpoint with the fact that all of these people who just left as talent, this is how they talk about you. This is how they think about you. Take that information and now understand why you have to fortify yourself in every single space that your talent can be leveraged in. You better have your products, your goods, and your services that you alone sell and have access to being able to use that distribution for as long as you can while you can, because this is how people think about you when you are replaceable. That's going to be it from my side, brother.
I don't know if they just picked up this sermon that you just put down. But we gonna pass that collection plate around to the left, cause you done said some shit, Tone.
I'm tired of being called talent. You know what that word sounds like to me.
Talent to me sounds like the quicker picker-upper. You know what that is?
Brother, with the hard ER. It's
the
like
quicker picker-upper in my mind is a paper towel. You know how wonderful a nice, crisp, bounty paper towel is when you have it to wipe some shit up at home? Just think of how you disregard the use of a paper towel. I got a spill over here. Let me grab this big-ass sheet to wipe up this little thing, and I'm just going to throw it away after I'm done. And do you know what happens when you finish that roll of paper towels?
Damn shame, bro. Toss
All
and keep
right,
moving.
well, let me just use the rag that I had before. Matter of fact, that stain can just dry, and it ain't even going to stay there. You know what I'm saying? Like, when you have that mindset to understand, man, it is the games being played.
It's a lot of bullshit, man, but that's going to be it from my side of Rip from the Headlines, bro. What you got in your neck of the woods?
That's real ugly, man. It's a lot that has transpired in our time apart. And I want to try to find some good. It's been tough, Tone. It's been hard out here to find some good. I got a good
quick hit for you.
Okay.
Jalen Hurts of the Philadelphia Eagles. Shout out to Jalen Hurts for the Philadelphia Eagles for donating $200,000 worth of air conditioning units to the Philadelphia school system. People going to school during the summer months, I know.
Shout out to Abbott Elementary.
Repressive that he could be.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We do have people who are performing on the field who are doing good for the community off the field. So, again, it's not all doom and gloom. We got some good people out there. So I just wanted to do a quick hit on that one.
Shout out to him doing that. I'm going to talk about Clips.
Okay.
You know, Pusha T, Malice, them brothers.
Okay.
Have you seen their new clothing line in partnership with Carhartt for the Work in Progress?
I definitely did.
Collection.
Shout out to that, yes. That looks like a very K.R. Jones-ish collaboration.
I've been a fan of Carhartt's Work in Progress line for a little bit. Shout out to the homie Odyssey. Odyssey had the first partnership with them, like as a music or as a rapper, I would say, and producer, and Work in Progress a huge part of their brand is representing music, right? So when you really go back to the people that they've sponsored and put money behind, majority of the time it's artists. So I had to shout that out because that is a legacy act in my eyes. One of the first CDs that I've had.
Absolutely.
And to see Malice back in the forefront with his brother is always good to see, that reach back and pull you back up to where you belong.
Looking to hear that album, man, definitely.
You know what I'm saying? So that was some good on my behalf. I was like, you know what? I'm going to shout that out because that's good. Now, we going to get into some bad that I have seen. Now, Brother Tone, famously, we've talked about Hyper Ice and Nike and the shoe with LeBron that they had. What if I were to tell you that before the Hyper Ice shoe hit the market, there was an attempt to have some Nike UV blocking contact lenses.
Nope, I don't think I need those.
To help athletes see moving objects.
Yeah, that looks a little crazy, bro. I don't think I need any of that. And we are in a different time.
How deep is your love for Nike that you need to put it in your eyeball?
You gonna get a swoosh eye? Nah, that's not me. That's not for me.
The Maxite Nike lens.
Yeah, I don't think I needed that one, but shout out to them for doing that.
So that you can see moving objects faster. So this is an advantage you would have if a football was coming my way, or baseball, or any kind of object that would help me.
Yeah, you know what this is? This is exactly the reason why Nike is losing the market share that they used to have.
Bingo!
It's stuff in that direction that's letting me know that whoever's there still not paying attention to what's going on.
His name was Bingo.
Yeah, Nike is losing some of their staying power in this industry, and they're starting to show.
Goddamn mind. They out their tree, as my grandmother would say. You know what I'm saying?
Much love.
They need to straighten up and fly right. Now, speaking of straightening up and flying right, Tone, I'm going to slide into this segment that's called Prison Play.
I don't need to know what that means. I don't even want you to clarify where you're going with that.
As I talk about prison play, Tone, what comes to mind for you?
This is a tragic segment brought to you in part by whatever Kyle is going to put in front of you.
If I told you incarcerated New Yorkers got together to do a prison play to
thank God.
Get out their emotions in a positive manner as if they were on Broadway, Tone, how do you feel about the New York State prison play?
In the best possible usage of my imagination, I will say that this is a good situation. It gives somebody a positive outlet for creativity and things of that
Thieves.
nature. Listen, some people get jammed up and they don't have none of that on their jacket.
Violent offenders.
You just could be in the wrong place
Shakespeare
at the wrong time and have not had enough of the good breaks to get you in there. I can't honestly say that all of the prison reformative kind of classes that are offered are actually making positive impact. But if somebody does find that there, I say shout out to him, man.
I'm here for it. If you want to find your voice in your, thespian activity, go for it.
Yeah.
I ain't going to shoot that down.
More power to him. And we got to question and start to audit where does some of the money for these programs, because somebody had to sit down, pitch that. Think about the process that it took for you to get all of that together, and think about the process that it took for you to find out about that. There's another side to the game. That's all I'll say. I'll leave it at that.
More will be revealed. Let me give you two more. This was a nasty one that we didn't get to talk about in our time apart. The internet was in an uproar. As you know, Juneteenth passed not too long ago. 4th of July, we in a heavy black openness, all the things. There was a photo that reached the internet addressing Rosa Parks' husband having a car.
Okay.
Did you see that photo?
I don't know how or why this is coming about, but no, I did not see the photo.
That suggests that Rosa Parks' husband had a car the entire time, and this woman's struggle of sitting on the bus because she was tired was because her husband didn't want to pick her up.
That is not accurate, but I don't know if we have the most accurate information about the Rosa Parks story either. So there's going to be a lot.
Because she wasn't the first; she was the face.
We're just gonna let that live however it lives. I don't need to be the person to take away from it, so I'll let you do that.
Sometimes you just need a four-person for the story to take the fall, not necessarily that might not be the original cast member, so to speak.
I live long enough in this country to know that the remix is always here.
Dark Skin and Viv will replace you if you ain't acting right. Last part I want to talk about is a topic called financial abstraction, Tony.
Okay.
When I say financial abstraction, what comes to mind for you?
That is a very abstract topic that you're bringing up, so I don't really have too much of a landing point on that.
It's a psychological phenomenon that explains why it's so much easier to spend money digitally and electronically because you're not physically seeing it.
I can see that.
So back in the day, if you had money in your wallet, you knew how much money you had. Yo, I got $200 in my wallet. Bet everything that I purchased.
You see that going down.
You get to see that physically going down. You get change from breaking larger bills, all the above. In a world where everything is tapped to pay, psychologically, you are not taking money as seriously as it would be if you physically have it.
I definitely think some people aren't, for sure.
And when you're not seeing those numbers, like you see them, but it doesn't add up. It doesn't feel the same. And that is where a lot of the younger generation is at when they come to paying for different things online for goods and services.
See, ironically, I think the younger generation doesn't have this problem as much as the older generation, because their normalized state is not having hard currency.
This is also true.
So anybody that is used to the conditions that you're talking about, who came from the time of hard currency and now is just using all digital, I think they have a harder time making that association. If I only know everything to be in this digital connection, I kind of have to have a greater presence of what that means versus what it doesn't mean.
I don't know, man. I think it's tough. But I do agree to your point of the people that knew ahead of time, right, or experience the other side of it.
I put it in the same kind of context as the people who fall for the any of the like telemarketing schemes or any of that kind of like, yo, we gonna get you with the email scheme.
Hey, what's up, man?
It's never the younger people that fall for that.
Yeah,
it's always the people who are on the tail end of this new innovation, right? So much like that, I think this is just a more legalized version of that. We see the same thing. It really plays out powerfully in advertisement as well. If it's not overt and it's the benign side, we tend not to pay a lot of attention to it. Speaking of ads, though, real quick, I did see a couple ads that I wanted to talk about that, caught my eye, and they kind of tie into this whole rip from the headlines health and wellness section. Now, Kyle, I know that we've talked about in some of your food crimes before, some of the aspects of what happens when you leave McDonald's in particular out for a longer period of time.
Yeah, it's a pair of sneakers.
So never would go by it. Like the colors stay the same.
It's a pair of Jordans. It takes 20 years for something to happen to it.
Everything in that direction. Did you see this advertisement from Burger King where they actually took one of their burgers and did a time-lapse variation of that McDonald's thing where stuff doesn't grow mold, and they put out an ad where they actually show the decaying of their food? Now, what's your immediate reactions to this as an ad?
As an ad, again, is different because I remember a time when you couldn't do certain things in commercials that would denigrate or
take away from the brand ideology. Like this is the Big Mac. We put Big Mac on Front Street with green fuzzy stuff growing off of it, like actual.
Well, that's a Whopper, but they talking about the Big Mac. Yeah, I'm with you.
I couldn't even identify that. Shout out to you for knowing the difference between Big Mac and a Whopper.
Listen, there's a Whopper Junior. You know what I'm saying? You get the bacon on there,
but you get me. They're showing the highlight here, and the hook for the ad is the fact that they are making real food, and real food goes bad. So just as an ad, I thought it was pretty innovative. Just throw something against the wall and be like, yo, we're not this other company that should last forever and probably is going to be doing you more harm than good. That does not mean that Burger King is giving you good food.
Not by any means.
It's a far cry. So just wanted to point that one out. And then did you see Gymshark? Company that, while Nike might be losing some ground, they are looking to pick up a lot more ground. Did you see any of their We Do Gym campaign? Because I do think some of these ads were pretty innovative.
I did not. I'm not really a Gymshark demographic core.
It's not my demo, but if you're looking at the conversations that they're having, they're speaking to people that you definitely see inside the gym.
Oh, 100%.
And they're doing things that you 100% see inside the gym.
Yep.
So on that, never skipping egg day.
It looked like some
we
old
do some lift.
Equinox marketing. That's what it looked like.
Which really was some
it's
old.
It's not fitness. It's life.
If we're gonna be honest, it's really some old David Barton marketing.
That too.
Because David Barton
show a little skin.
No, look better naked. It wasn't
a little
show
tongue in cheek.
There was no show a little skin. David Barton, in the modern idiom of what health and wellness is,
sometimes you gotta pop out and show niggas.
He's the person that is responsible for why sex is selling in the gym industry.
Yeah.
Point blank, simple and plain. That man had Chelsea on tilt when he put out that Look Better Naked campaign, and then you see Equinox start to change how they was running. I was around for when that happened. Now, he did a whole lot of other stuff. Shout out to that man for doing what he's doing. Temple's still around. They still getting that off in some way, shape, or form. But I remember what Chelsea was doing when David Barton was out there, man. And not to take you off on too much of a tangent, but
that was a little bit of a tangent,
I
bro.
done seen it, man. I done seen it.
That was a bit of a detour. Mm-hmm. From that detour, we're going to take this hard left into a Raising the Bar segment.
Let's raise it up then.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, listeners of all type from near and far, you are now in store to raise your bar. Now, Brother Tone, I want to talk about the cost of authenticity.
Okay.
Now, you just spoke on, David Barton and him being the pioneer and what marketing would look like for what gyms needed to look like, right? When I think about authenticity, I think about defining what it means to be you, but also understanding that that's a lifetime practice, right? And you can't get that twisted because authenticity is still the barometer of genuine and real, right? There's a huge difference between someone who's actually who they say they are and someone who's faking and pretending to be something that they aren't, right? Being genuine is harder to identify because you have to be wary of the folks who have ulterior motives, who present as friends but really be foes. You know what I mean? If being real is subjective, especially in a world like today, then a world of filters, a world of generated AI images are optional. You got people that's playing the game on a whole nother level. I've seen the AI generated influencers where it's like, fam, you got this person that got a bunch of followers and brand deals that's not even a real person. Somebody's controlling this image from off a couch that looks nothing like this person.
Yeah.
That's tough to compete with when you show up every day, you do the work, and then there's other people that is benefiting from this work that you do in an inauthentic way. Right? With that being said, there's many facets that contribute to the genetic makeup of what authenticity means, right? Every opportunity, every situation you're presented with as an individual allows space for you to make a choice.
Okay.
Will you show up as your authentic full self, or will you revert to a default watered down setting of auto responses? I found myself having to ask people questions more than once just to get a real response. Have you ever found yourself in a situation like that where you might ask, yo, what's up? How you doing? And they, staying out the way, I'm good. And it's like, nah, bro, talk to me. What's going on in your life? Having to take a moment to, if not genuinely ask how you are, but to give someone space to just speak on how they feel. That's a real thing that I feel like gets lost a lot of the times in daily interactions because everybody's on the move and everybody's in party mode and you want to live and run away from your life and some type of escapism, if that's in a drug, a person, an event, whatever that may be. But you have to take time to hold space for that, right? And I feel like with that comes a cost, right? Now, authenticity is less sought after when there's a rise of duplicates profiting off of the blueprints that have been left there. There's been a lot of people that have come up off of teaching other people how to get to where they were, right? There's a lot of blueprints pretty much for any and everything that you want to do. There's someone that has mapped out a way or a path that you can follow and emulate to get to this level. That's just the words, right? There's action that has to follow that. And I feel like a lot of people get lost in that action. When I think of authenticity, I think of present day, it never prioritizing the bottom line. The bottom line is going to be here. Whether we get there authentically or inauthentically, it don't even matter no more. It's a money play, right? The best authenticity sketch I've ever seen was when Dave Chappelle had Keeping It Real go wrong, right? When I think about the sketch as being pure comedy, but even harder truth, I completely understand the desire to safeguard the things that are sacred to you, but know that you could always be one bad decision away from your world being upside down, right? When you think about that sketch, it was like, yo, he did this, what? Let's throw hands on him, right? And it's like, as an adult, present day, that's assault, bro. That's a charge. That's jail time. You're now taking penitentiary chances off of a feeling that you didn't have time to unpack with intelligently to get to another resolution, right? Which brings me to, do you remember the conversation I had about the ship of Theseus, the paradox, right? Quick recap, we're going to tie it in to bring this whole thing together in a knot. So the ship of Theseus, it's Greek mythology. Theseus was a king, founder of the city of Athens, all this other bullshit, yada, yada. after several hundred years of battling with this ship that he had, he was like, you know what? I'm gonna make a new ship. So he went back and let's say the ship was made of all wood. He replaced every piece of wood and every nail in the ship after hundreds of years of battle because he wanted a new one. With the scraps of the old ship, somebody made another ship. Then the question and the paradox then becomes, well, which ship is actually the ship of Theseus? Is it the new one that ain't really been battle tested, or is it the old scraps that have seen the glories in the battles but was rebuilt, right? Like I see that as being the paradox that we live in. Where do we put the value in? The old shit that we knew stood the test of time, or is it the blueprint that somebody took and recreated?
Okay.
Right? It brings me to this question. In historical context, in life context, where is your bar and measurement of authenticity, and how does that influence the decisions you make moving forward?
So just trying to think of it in a way that's sequential for people to follow in listener land.
Okay.
Right? So first thing I would say, authenticity is very subjective.
Yes.
So authentic to whom would be the first layer of questioning that I'm asking, because a lot of what sounds like it could be authenticity in some of the examples that you're giving, just specifically in even the Dave Chappelle, when keeping it real goes wrong, that's authentic to what you think common behavior to the outside world should look like.
Yeah.
Are you being authentic to yourself because you're reacting in a way that you have been programmed to react? I don't know if I can call that authenticity. Not if I stick with the definition of the actual word. Learned behaviors executed at the wrong possible time. Is that authentic, or is it something that is an inhibitor? It really is situational, and it really is dependent. So that's why I wanted to really make sure that I took the time to try to understand the flow of thought, to make sure that the flow of response is going in the same direction. Me being authentic is somebody that's going to be hyper analytical, somebody that's going to be trying to work towards what I define as the greater good, somebody that's going to be in service of the people that I care about the most primarily, and honestly, somebody that doesn't really care about people who are not in that group. That's just an authentic thing. Now, you can read whatever your interpretation of, hey, that might feel not great for me because I'm in this special space and I don't think he's talking to me, or that. That's me expressing that authentically. There's things that I care about. There's things that I am knowledgeable about, but honestly, I don't know the most about. And at this point in time, I think it's a liability to try to pretend that you care about stuff that you do not actually care about. That's me expressing that authentically.
Yeah.
Saying that in a world where everybody needs you to have the most poise and balance reaction to everything.
You got to be on.
This false...
At all times.
This false ideology that all
no
people...
days off.
All people know all things all the time, and they're going to have the best representation of whatever the topic is at hand.
One Google away.
That's not real to me. I don't know if I could put that high of a value on what I think authenticity is.
How do you define real present day?
It's subjective. It's all going to be dependent upon the circumstance and the consequences of that circumstance. So me being authentic on these microphones is me talking about the stuff that I care about with the people that I care about and hoping that they get what I intend to happen. That's me authentically putting that forward. What's real to somebody in their own situation, I don't have enough control over to tell you what's not real. We get news reports every day about some other shit that you need to be worried about that's going to be the end of this version of the world sooner rather than later. Is any of that real? I don't know. And I think the more you are distracted by trying to differentiate some of the stuff that you literally don't have control over, I think that makes you lose your authenticity. As you're thinking through life, you're constantly evolving and you're constantly changing. So if your authenticity is anchored in something that happened yesteryear, I don't know if you're evolving for the world that's actually unfolding before you. If you are only beholden to all the new stuff and you don't have any kind of roots, how solid can you be if the next person that talks to you can be easily influential on all of your life decisions? There's got to be something that's in between there. I don't know if I would say that's authentic. I think it's just being aware. That's how I kind of try to put that down. Hey, some of the stuff from my past, not the greatest to bring forward, but some of it is. Some of the stuff that's happening currently, you know what? Now rethinking it, I might need to change my position on here. Just because I changed my position doesn't make it any less authentic. It's just, here I am in this present time making a reevaluation.
What I'm hearing is adaptation, survival of the fittest, so to speak, like that ideology of I have to maneuver to the best way to maintain as much life as I possibly can here, right? Like living day to day, having the dreams and aspirations that I do is vastly different than anyone else in my family. Mm-hmm. Point blank, period. I can say definitively, no one who's a blood relative of me has near the ideas that I have or any of the experiences that I've touched, seen, or continue to aspire to do. Mm-hmm. I am a one of one in that regard. But to your point of having to then continue to live a life knowing what I know, I had a lot of people in the fam check out in their 60s because they wasn't eating right. Let me take care of this now in my 30s so I could live forward a little bit better. Or fam, I had some homies that was in the streets. Let me not be in the streets because I seen what that got them and how they ended up. Like, but then also I got the young homies over here. They using technology on a whole nother way, but I don't know if that's necessarily for me, right? Like holding space for all of that in between in itself gives you leeway to define what your authentic path is going to be. Mm-hmm. But it's tough to label what, again, authenticity is.
I'll land the idea in the fact that authenticity might have to be a conversation with yourself. When you look at yourself in the mirror, do you feel happy about your decisions or no? When you lay your head on your pillow and you think about all the energy and effort that you put into whatever your chosen path is, are you lying to yourself in any way? Because at the end of the day, everybody else is going to make an opinion about whatever it is you're doing. Do you feel in your heart of hearts, in your whatever you consider soul might be, that your energy, effort, and the person that you're telling yourself you are, does it feel real or does it feel forced? You're going to have to be able to oscillate what authentic is in the different environments that you find yourself in. You can't show up as 100% yourself every single point in time. That's part of the problem with why a lot of people don't get to a lot of different areas that they might want to in life. If you have to do everything your way 100% of the time, in my opinion, you're kind of an asshole. And you will get what that deserves.
Get some asshole treatment.
There are a lot of people who think their way...
I hate that guy.
Their way is the way, right?
Sure.
And you could put any ideology on it. I don't think either side owns that more.
My way or the highway, buddy.
There's going to be a value system that they think is the most important thing to everybody's life. And then they're going to find out in one way or another, nobody gives a fuck about that special star that you give a fuck about.
Sound like my old manager at the Knox, but we ain't going to talk about that person. We're going to let that slide.
It is what it is what I'm saying, right?
Drove that company down.
You can have your opinions. Quit. Nobody's entitled to have to adhere to the version of the world that you tell yourself is real. So you have to understand how that version fits into whatever it is you're trying to do.
When I introspectively look into the soul, the person that I am and who I think I am and who I present to the world, I'm a good person at heart, bro. Like, if I got it, you got it. You know what I mean? If we riding till the wheels fall off, and I'm willing to serve well before I ask for anything, right? The world itself is not always that nice, right? The world inherently is an evil place, right? And there's a lot, not fully evil, but there is just as much evil out there as there is good.
What I will say is that people operate off of self-interest. Now, you might find yourself on the wrong side of self-interest, which can be interpreted as evil.
Sure, especially after something like the pandemic, where everybody had to fend for self at some point. When you were isolated and the world was ending, you then had to introspectively look at, what am I going to do to survive? And how can I prioritize my life, my well-being, my health over anyone else, especially people outside of my circle, right? And when you're moving through the world as a good person at your core, again, like your point before, you do have to be very aware of those around you, because there are people with malicious intent. There are people that do wish harm, if not onto you, but maybe onto somebody else, and you can feel that, right? Like, it's palpable.
Yeah, I think ultimately it comes down to the distinction of what game are you playing?
Yeah.
And whoever you're thinking that you're being judged by, are they committed to playing the same game as you? There are a lot of people who believe that I should follow the law because the law is there, and this is the thing that I should do.
Yeah.
Then there's a group of people who think I need to follow the law because I don't want to face the penalty of that law. And then there are some people who think, fuck the law in every way, shape, or form. I'm not subscribing to that game, right?
Yeah.
You all have to find a way to exist in the same space.
Yes.
So you are going to deal with a certain percentage of people who believe that I need structure and I need this safe space. And with this structure and safe space, I can find my own personal interest.
You're not allowed to do that.
Then there's some people who be like, as soon as somebody's not looking, I'm going to take advantage of this system. And then there's some people who are like, I don't care if you're looking. I'm not playing this game.
Somebody done told you wrong.
So all of that to say, it's a spectrum.
Okay.
And in that spectrum, you got to operate with what feels the best for you, man.
Speaking of operating on the spectrum that feels the best for you, Brother Tone, let's slide into a relaxing responsibly segment. Tell them who it's bought in part by.
Well, I think you should tell them, my friend, because you are the person who's the purveyor of the relaxation vibes at Frequency Movement. Let them know how they should be relaxing with KR Jones.
Thank you there, Brother Tone. That is right. I am KR Jones, and I host a roll-up and roll-out class every Wednesday night at 8 p.m. at Frequency Movement in Bushwick, Brooklyn. In this class specifically, it is what the relaxation responsibly segment is about. We come in, I roll you a little baby joint, you know what I'm saying? We send smoke in the air, and then we stretch for an hour from the ground up. So if that sounds like something you're into, holla at your boy.
All right. How was you relaxing this week, man?
Man, my relaxation this week was a bit tough. But what I did find relaxation in, and I'm certain we're going to talk about it because we haven't covered it yet, was there was a rooftop situation that was elevated.
Well, let's break that up.
For my relaxation, I attended an heirloom event at the Moxie Hotel in Williamsburg at the Lily Star.
Yes, hosted by Weed Auntie.
Weed Auntie was holding it down. We was on the rooftop, and just to paint the picture of this rooftop, you get off the elevator, there's a bar, there's luxury modular couches, funky disco designs, plant life, and then you open up into a patio, if you will.
Yeah.
A rooftop patio in which, to my right, I'm looking at Manhattan Bridge. I'm looking at the skyline. What's that? The Hudson River or whatever that is.
It's a great vista of the whole east side of Manhattan.
Beautiful view. You look to the left, you see, you know what I'm saying? You see a little Bushwick. You get into the sky.
Brooklyn.
You get into the other parts of Brooklyn, a little Ridgewood if you look far enough. And it was just like, man, look at the city divided, but somehow together all at once. And we sparked the J.
Yeah.
On the roof.
It was not something that was persecuted at all. You know, it was a level of freedom that came with that.
No crimes committed.
Yeah. So being on the cutting edge of seeing how that's going to start to evolve into a new form of what New York nightlife is something that's pretty fascinating. So again, shout out to Weed Auntie. That's Solange Burnett out there who's holding it down and really curating these different events. She's been putting on some interesting stuff that is really showing, again, what the forefront of this culture of cannabis is going to be. And I really do think there's so much money coming into this industry and in that direction, specifically with people looking for things that are wellness related. We should have some kind of agency there as well. So that's why I'm paying attention.
You mean like the roll up and roll out class on Wednesday nights at 8 p.m.?
And I'm saying even further than that there are businesses that are looking to find people who are practitioners in health and wellness to do these type of events and gatherings to bring community together around the feelings and the benefit propositions that these products can offer. People are looking for relaxation. If you have a relaxation product and you have a roll-up and roll-out class where relaxing responsibly is a part of that class, Kyle, I think you might be able to find somebody to help you get that to be on the level that it needs to. So
bingo!
I do like that and I do champion that. And yeah, shout out to you for getting some relaxation at that point in time. I still want my damn bag, Kyle. Make sure you get that back. All right.
Hey, man, we did the hand-to-hand in the whip. It's mine now.
It was real.
Go ahead and tell the people how you were relaxing responsibly this week, brother.
I got a chance to relax, man, by taking a little solo trip to the museum. It was the last weekend of the Giants exhibition at Brooklyn Museum. And yeah, man, first and foremost, just going through the museum on an off hour is always something that's super relaxing because I can take my damn time. I don't got to be in there.
You ain't rushed.
Where everybody's trying to be in the mix and taking photos and doing a whole 7 different costume change in front of the mural.
Time. I did not enjoy myself.
I did not have that experience.
There's a bunch of foreigners in there.
Midday, nice and calm.
You don't even know who these people are.
Super hot day.
Back your bitch ass up.
No, they want to get this off for the gram.
Yeah.
So just strolling through and seeing that somebody's personal collection that I know. Like, all of the stuff in the museum is somebody's personal collection.
Yeah.
But somebody's personal collection that I know, and that they are deliberately making selections of black artists that are living today to be able to put on walls that you can walk through and still be able to research and touch the actual artists in real time. It's not people who've only passed, and not somebody that is so abstract from where you are. Like, they got a lot of dead white people on them walls inside that museum. I don't give a fuck about what's going on in colonialism with all of them, like, Marie Antoinette ghost looking motherfuckers on the wall.
I know what you're talking about.
Keep
them old
all
wig
of that
herons.
shit.
Yeah.
You can keep every part of that. I don't want to see none of it. But what I do care about is seeing the aspirational components, and one, being able to own that shit and be like, yo, I'm gonna loan my collection out to the museum for 4 months at a time. Just let you know, hey, most of these pictures, my face is gonna be in these pictures too. That's a crazy flex. Y'all walk around.
It's mine.
Look at me.
Look at this.
In all of these different spaces.
Look at me and my girl getting this fly shit off.
I gotta see that, and I gotta salute the hell
This
out of
used
that.
to be in our summer house. It's here for you to see it.
Yo, I just take a look. Don't touch. Make sure you stay back. Don't breathe directly on my shit. It's coming back to my house.
Two things come to mind. First thing came to mind about this exhibit, I just realized that when I did go there, I had on the Organic Thug vest. And not one, but multiple people stopped me to take photos of this vest. So
there we go.
If I made something that was catching people's eyes in such an exhibit, I think myself, I am a giant that I need to realize on a whole nother scale.
Hey, man.
That's one.
You gonna eat that damn frog.
Number two, what I did appreciate about that exhibit specifically is the vastness of the work, right? There was photos, there were bikes that were there.
Yeah.
There was like listening sessions, like a little record you could sit down and hear some music.
It's black art in every aspect. It's not just one monolith of what black art needs to look like.
Not just American black art either. Like, it was spread out.
People think that, okay, because Basquiat was popularized, that's the only thing that people can make over here. Okay, this expressionist kind of thing is going to be the thing that all black people make. It's like, no, they got landscape portraits on one side. They're just kind of like, you don't even see the topics or subject of black. This is just a dope landscape that the person who made it happened to be black.
Yeah.
So, like, yeah, we can be complex.
For sure.
We can be people who understand the beauty in things that you don't necessarily associate people with. Like, this is nature portraiture. We are not the first people that come to mind when you think of nature portraiture. I think Bob Ross, which he might or might not have been on the line. He had the fro. We don't know where he was at.
You know, he's
but he had some happy little trees in that
product in there. He was getting lifted too.
He had some soul glow, you know? I got to shout out him for that. But we don't think about the people that we traditionally see making these collages and everything else in that direction like that typically. I didn't see it until I think we talked about on the show that Art in the Absence of Light, which kind of highlighted all of these different people individually. Now putting them all together and seeing one person owns this, and it's a family that is dedicated to proliferating this kind of narrative going into generations forward. Super inspirational, and it definitely got me to relax this week.
That's beautiful, man. Just tied in last part. When you go into these different galleries, they're named after family names.
Yeah.
And those galleries do represent a myriad of a lot of different artists, but like this has been happening. And for it to be a black family is something that we just haven't really seen.
That's it, man. That's it right there. So salute to Swiss and Alicia Keys for doing that. And I need to make it so that, Kyle, one day my portrait can be in somebody's museum on loan,
looking quite noble,
and let them know that you too,
regal, if you will,
you can be here too one day.
Yeah,
it's like, don't ever give up. Never settle.
In the words of the poet and laureate Pharrell Williams, my nigga, you could do it too.
Here we go.
Sounds like you're hopeful for something, Tony. Go and let the people know what you're hopeful for.
Kyle, one thing I'm hopeful for this week is that we continue our push through all of the trials and tribulations that we have talked about going through these last couple of weeks and making our way up this hill one more time. I said earlier it
ain't going to be one more, bro. It's going to be a lot more.
It's going to be a few more. But I think we've had the conversation. It didn't make it on the mic. But there is the ideas that come from the fear of falling that kind of are worse than the actual impact of hitting the floor. In that, when you're trying to strive for something higher, you know, and just like any tightrope artist or anybody that's going in there, you have the fear of you actually falling. It's probably going to be on the way down a lot worse than when you actually make contact with what the ground is going to do. And if you can realize that you can take a fall, survive that fall and still be able to have some wherewithal about yourself once you get up. It's not about dust yourself off and try again. It's kind of like, well, what did you learn in that descent? Moreover, what fears did you get over now that you're at the worst case scenario, and where can you go forward? I'm hopeful that people see themselves in whatever part of that whole lineage they're in. See yourself in the best possible sense and take the lessons into the future of whatever your execution may be. That's what I'm hopeful for.
It's beautiful, brother. I'm going to say I'm hopeful that, and this is a message for me, but I'm going to share it with the people.
No doubt.
I hope that you take the steps to step into the person that you are meant to be. Stop bullshitting and really get into the bag that you're supposed to be in. I saw a clip of the dude from Insecure. His name is like Sharonis, I think, tall, light-skinned homie. Yeah. He was the one that was with Molly in the open relationship out there slanging that thing, you know what I'm talking about?
That sounds wild, but I'm going to let it go.
Nonetheless.
He's on the new Apple series. I know who you're talking about.
He was in Clipped. He was supposed to be Matt Barnes in there.
Yeah, the Clipped was a nasty...
That was a nasty word, nasty show.
Setup, but
we're going to talk about that another day. You know, but shout out to the homie Rembrandt, man, who wrote that. But we're going to talk about that another day. Nonetheless, in this clip of Sharonis, the actor, he was talking about when he had an opportunity to either play basketball overseas that was guaranteed money, or to take a chance into acting, which was something that he really wanted to get into. And he said the moment that he had was, I was not acting as if I was an actor. I didn't step into acting shoes. I was still embarrassed about it and shy and didn't really step into the role of being an actor. And he was like, no one is going to look at you as an actor until you look at yourself as an actor. And then that's when you can really step into those roles. So as a wellness professional, as the artist that I am, until I fully step into those shoes, I don't think anyone else can see the correlation of the work that I've done to get to this point. So that's what the hope is whatever those footprints are in the ground that's right in front of you, they ain't too far to find. But until you fully cement yourself into those steps, you're going to be where you at.
Taking footsteps in the dark to a whole new level, Jones. I like it.
Come on with the Osley Brothers. I would have hit the note if I had it. I ain't got the note. You
don't have the note. I'm going to let you know right now. I love you and I appreciate you. Do not attempt a note.
I was listening to Summer Breeze the other day. Man!
You got to let that live where it is.
Classic rock and roll right there.
You know what, Kyle?
Nigga made love to that guitar. You know what I'm saying? Summer Breeze.
I told you ain't had a note.
Makes me feel fine.
Folks, I apologize for the vocal stylings of K.R. Jones, but if you do like most of what he said, not the notes, but most of what he said, Kyle.
The previous part.
The good people would want to find out where they can stay in contact with you and how they can keep up with the Off the Strength podcast. Could you let them know where they might be able to tap in to understand more about what you got going on?
Let me talk my ish real quick one time.
You
can find me at KR Jones. I'm so popping that I ain't even got to say the underscore no more, Tone, because I got the other KR Jones out the box.
There we go.
You get what I'm saying?
I'm happy for you.
Yeah, for sure, because I used to just be KR Jones underscore, but then I got popping. So now if you just type in KR Jones in any search engine, you're going to see your boy.
There we go.
If you want to find out, you can visit us at Off the Strength on Instagram, or if you're in the greatest city in the world, that is New York City. Sometimes you can visit us at Rockefeller Center at the block of the Rock at Newsstand Studios. Come and pull up on your boys and catch us Off the Strength.
Yeah, that's right. Make sure you visit it on days where trash pickups are actually scheduled. Do not come on a holiday weekend where we skip that, because you will be seeing all types of nasty New Yorkness.
We recognize all Jewish holidays, Muslim holidays as well, too. Check your calendars.
Yeah, everybody in there, man. You got anything else you want to leave with the good people before we slide up out of here, Brother Jones?
Wash your damn hands.
Still in effect, especially in the summertime. The sticky, nasty dap is not wanted. You will get checked.
And if you need to double up on your deodorant, stop planning to get that aluminum, man. Just go ahead and throw that aluminum foil under your arm, because we don't need to smell you.
I'm not going to go that far, but we are going to have to find some hygienic wipes to be in everybody's bag out here, okay? Don't be afraid to reapply midday. If you're walking around, you got a full 8 hours, and you know that at halftime,
your deodorant cut off.
It cuts off.
At that 4 hour mark.
Go ahead, throw another.
Around 6, you be real watery.
Go ahead, throw another couple swipes underneath the
double
armpit.
Up.
Ain't gonna hurt nobody.
Never let a hard time humble us. All right?
Once again, it's been another fantastic episode of Off the Strength. I'm a trainer called Tony.
KR Jones.
Peace and much love out there to everybody. Till next time, we'll see you soon. Peace. Getting money. What's good, everybody? I'm a trainer called Tony, and I am here from the infamous Off the Strength podcast, asking you today, listeners, viewers, wherever you may be, to please like, listen, and subscribe to our podcast. This is how we're going to continue to be able to deliver you the best goddamn wellness information out here. So if you want to keep hearing this and you want us to keep growing, you are a part of this show just as much as anything else. So please go to offthestrength.com. Make sure you check out our blogs. Make sure you check us out on IG. And if you're hearing this voice and you didn't hit that subscribe button, know that Kyle is going to come looking for you.
You got that right.
Primetime Susans.
No, I went to karaoke last night at Bias and Leon.
Oh, word?
I realized there's a huge difference in singing and performing. And
yeah.
I didn't perform at all, because my soul, my heart and soul is in old school music, you know what I'm saying? That's the only thing that I can really perform because that's where the energy is. I felt disrespected when, I don't remember what song it was, but they was doing the Drew Hill step and it wasn't Drew Hill. I'm like, listen, can't do the 5-step if Drew Hill ain't playing,
And we were
5 steps.
Don't nobody like Drew Hill like that, fam.